We often use four-part chorale style to illustrate musical structure. This is because it allows for the expression of four-note chords, and because we can see both the vertical structure of the sonorities along with the horizontal structure of the individual voices. It allows us to easily see how each note leads to the next in each voice, while at the same time creating harmonies. This is called voice leading. We will begin by simply voicing a chord, that is, assigning specific pitches to each of the four voices: soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. Essentially, any pitch can be assigned to any voice within the constraints of style. If you are voicing a four-note chord, such as a dominant seventh chord, any chord member can be in any voice. Remember, the chord member that is in the bass determines the inversion of the chord. General voicing constraints include the presence of all chord tones, the range of each singing voice, and the spacing of pitches called disposition. There are also a set of constraints surrounding the doubling of chord tones. If there are four voices and you are voicing a triad, one chord member must be sung by two different voices. This is called doubling. Some of these constraints are immutable, and others are flexible. Let's start with the constraint of range, the highest and lowest note sung by any of the voices. Though individual singers may be able to sing above or below the given ranges, and you might compose music to take advantage of extended ranges, for theory exercises you want to write the most easily singable part possible. The ranges of the voices are as follows. The soprano range is from the pitch C4 to the pitch G5. The alto range is from the pitch A3 to the pitch C5. The tenor range is from the pitch C3 to the pitch G4, and the bass range is from the pitch E2 to the pitch C4. Notating a voice out of range is a type of voicing error. The soprano and alto voices are notated on the treble clef staff. The tenor and bass voices are notated on the bass clef staff. The stems for the soprano and tenor voices are directed upwards. The stems for the alto and bass voices are directed downwards. This allows us to easily follow each individual voice. Spacing is the absolute distance between the pitches. Due to the way our auditory system functions, we tend to keep lower pitches further apart and allow higher pitches to be closer together. The interval between adjacent voices may not exceed an octave, except for between the bass and tenor, which may extend to any interval. One voice may not sing above or below its adjacent voice. When this occurs, it is a voicing error called voice crossing or crossed voices. We describe the disposition of the chord as the distance between the soprano and tenor voices. If the interval between the soprano and the tenor is less than an octave, the disposition is closed. If the interval between the soprano and tenor is greater than an octave, the disposition is open. If the interval between the soprano and tenor is exactly an octave, the disposition is open octave. We avoid a direct change between closed and open disposition in the middle of a phrase. This is considered a voice leading error, in that it occurs when we move from one voicing to the next. We may change disposition by passing through an open octave, or we may change disposition when starting a new phrase. Doubling constraints. The immutable doubling constraint is never double a tendency tone. You have already learned that the leading tone and chordal sevenths are tendency tones. Double the bass of a second inversion tonic triad. The root and third of the chord are tendency tones. Diminished triads commonly appear in first inversion with a doubled bass, the third of the chord. The root and the fifth of the triad form a tritone and are tendency tones. Flexible doubling constraints include: the strongest note to double is the root. Avoid doubling tones that are dissonant with the bass, seconds, fourths, and sevenths. Some theorists teach that the soprano is the preferred note to double in a first inversion major or minor triad. Other theorists prefer to double the root. Doubling at the unison is acceptable, but I try to avoid it when possible. Chord voicings should contain all chord members. Sometimes the fifth of a dominant seventh chord or the final tonic of a piece can be omitted and replaced by the root in favor of other voice leading constraints.